Speaker, given that it is my first opportunity to speak in the House today, I want to speak about a very grave threat to Canadians.
Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David. Today I want to break down what I think the Liberals' new plan is here to try to get some power back. It's embarrassing, it's not working, but it's become quite clear here with this recent House of Commons session. I'll break this down as we go through. So first off, we've got Andrew Scheer, who starts off the House of Commons session back and forth with Chrystia Freeland. And when it gets to Chrystia Freeland, you'll notice it's almost like Andrew Scheer isn't even there. She came there with a pre-scripted thing to say.
After 9 years of this NDP Liberal Prime Minister, Canadians are getting poorer. His inflationary deficits are pushing up inflation and interest rates. That's because when the Prime Minister goes into the markets and borrows billions and billions to fund his spending spree, that bids up the interest rates for everyone else. And a new report from the Bank of Canada is shocking. Average mortgage payments will rise by more than 20% in the next couple of years. Where the heck are Canadian families supposed to come up with an extra few $100s just to pay higher mortgage payments for the homes they already own?
So you notice there, his question is about mortgage payments. Where are Canadians supposed to get the extra money on mortgage payments? So this is question period. And historically, this is supposed to be a period where the official opposition asks the government in power questions. We all know this is not answer period, it's question period, as they don't like to answer questions. But just take a look, Chrystia Freeland. It's like she doesn't even see Andrew Scheer. She came with her canned speech.
And ask members just to be very conscious of the language that they use. The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister...
It's pretty early for that, Fergus.
Mr. Speaker, given that it is my first opportunity to speak in the House today, I want to speak about a very grave threat to Canadians. Last week, the Conservative leader said he is going to ignore our charter rights.
That's right.
This week, a Conservative MP stood up in this House and said he's opposed to a woman's right to choose. And now Conservative MPs are outside attacking a woman's right to choose. So now we know the truth. They're going to attack our charter rights. They're going to attack the rights of every woman in Canada.
Hear, hear.
So she came with this 1, 2, 3 punch. The Liberals are trying to dogpile a bunch of phony baloney nonsense. It's funny because the Liberals are the ones who actually have a whole bunch of scandals, like the one I reported on this morning with the $8 billion slush fund. They have so many that are stacking up, and they're realizing, oh, we need to make them look really bad versus us trying to look really good. So that's what the Liberals were doing here for a while. Their plan before this was to come up with a budget, do fairness for all generations, all that nonsense where they're trying to get the young vote back. And it hasn't worked. And the reports have shown that the young Canadians are just continuing to leave Canada. They saw the budget and they're continuing to leave. And they don't trust the government, and their numbers have further gone down. So now they're switching to the opposite and trying to say, hey, we're going to make Canada better. Trust us. Just trust us. Not like we've doubled the price of everything. Don't worry, we'll fix it. Now they're going on the attack. They're going the negative route. They're going the full-on slander, the full-on personal attacks, you name it. And that's why we saw first the white supremacist, Diagolon, all that crap. And after Trudeau got completely embarrassed with all that stuff, as it was shown that Pierre Poilievre had already denounced them 2 years ago. So Liberals have picked out a whole bunch of other topics. Now we've got the notwithstanding clause. Let's bring that up for you guys. The notwithstanding thing that they keep bringing up is from this clip here, and I'll break it down for you guys.
It will be jail and not bail. Multiple murderers will stay in maximum security. Multiple murderers will only ever come out of jail in a box. We will make them constitutional using whatever tools the Constitution allows me to use to make them constitutional. I think you know exactly what I mean.
What Pierre's talking about here is a notwithstanding clause, which is like a 5-year overpowering of certain laws. In this situation, and really the only situation he's ever talked about using the notwithstanding clause to overwrite the charter, is people who cause other people to leave this world through acts of pew-pew and other things. And Pierre doesn't want these people back on the streets. Back in 2017, when there was a guy who went into a mosque in Quebec and pewed 6 people, they wanted those life sentences to be consecutive. Now, life sentence is not a life sentence, but if they would have been for all 6 people been consecutive, that person would have been jailed for 150 years. But the Supreme Court ruled that it wouldn't be humane to do that to someone, despite them removing 6 people from this planet. This is what Pierre Poilievre is talking about. He's talking about keeping dangerous people off of our streets and behind bars. He even wrote this on Twitter. This isn't a secret like the Liberals seem to try to be drudging it up like, oh, we figured him out. Oh, he's just this bad guy. It's like, no, he's pretty honest and transparent. He's a common sense dude. If we look here right on Pierre Poilievre's X account, it says today's decision by the Supreme Court of Canada to reduce the sentence of Alexandre Bissonnette, who pleaded guilty to 6 counts of bad things and 6 counts of more bad things on Muslim worshippers in an Islamic cultural center in Quebec City on January 29th, 2017. My first thought is for the families of the victims. I cannot imagine how they are feeling today. As Prime Minister, I will use the notwithstanding clause to restore the law so that every life taken counts again in a killer's sentence and that the worst murderers stay behind bars for life. Can you believe it that the Liberals, they're trying to use this as their arguing point, that Poilievre is some bad guy. This is a guy who wants to stand up for Canadians and protect Canadians against monsters like this Alexandre guy. Yet our broken system will let this guy out of jail, after 1 life sentence, whatever that is, 20-something, 30 years. So first they did the diagonal on white supremacist crap. Then now they're doubling down on this. Like, oh, he's going to take away your rights. And now they're trying to link this with a woman's right to choose and contraception. It is just ridiculous and embarrassing for the Liberals. You see here, this is a Liberal ad on their on their account. Every Conservative MP you see here has been endorsed by an anti-choice group that wants to roll back abortion rights. The Liberals keep saying now that Pierre Poilievre is going to invoke that notwithstanding clause and take away a woman's ability to be able to choose if she wants to have abortion or not. Now, the timing of this isn't random. Today is the March for Life, which is underway in Ottawa right now, as you can see here from DC Media.
The 27th March for Life is underway here in Ottawa, and it is a massive turnout. Lanes wide, blocks long. The end is still coming out of Parliament Hill. Wonderful, wonderful turnout. Praise the Lord.
Honestly, it's kind of refreshing to not see a Palestine protest for once. And the Liberals have conveniently used this to try to tie in the notwithstanding clause to say, oh, Pierre's going to take away your rights and you won't be able to choose what you want to do and blah, blah, blah. It is just embarrassing. If we go back to the House of Commons here, we got a couple of good zingers, but you'll see that the Liberals just keep doubling down on this attacks on Pierre and trying to dogpile them and link them together.
None of that is true, Mr. Speaker. She's just desperate to distract from her own record. And she's trying to console Canadians by saying that everything's okay because she hasn't quite maxed out the national credit card just yet. But all of that spending and borrowing is having an impact. In fact, Desjardins Financial has concluded that output per capita fell in every province last year, which is the broadest base standard of living decline in Canadian history other than the pandemic, costing Canadian families $4,200 a month. Will somebody over there please cut up the national credit card before more Canadians go bankrupt?
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to ask all members to please to only take the floor, and I'll ask the honourable member from Orleans, who is also another respected member of the House, to please only take the floor when she is addressed. The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, there was a lot of shouting while I was speaking from the other side of the House. And that is because they are afraid that Canadians are starting to understand their real plan. Canadians have seen they hang out with white supremacists and don't disavow them. Canadians have seen they are getting ready to tear up the Charter of Rights. And now we know the first right they're going to attack, a woman's right to choose, just like the far right has done south of the border. But we will not let them.
The Liberals have lost every chance, every hope. Their new budget is doing nothing but hurting them. All they've got left now is just straight up attacks. and making up garbage and nonsense.
Take no lessons from a government that's trampling over free speech rights by trying to control the internet and control what Canadians can see and post online. Well, Mr. Speaker, for random Liberals hoping that when the outgoing Prime Minister finally leaves, a new Liberal leader will rescue them, they're about to be sorely disappointed. Mark Carbon Tax Carney continued his Liberal leadership campaign in the Senate yesterday, where he pushed the same radical agenda, endorsed the current Prime Minister's carbon tax, and couldn't come up with even a penny to cut in wasteful spending. If Mark Carbon Tax Carney won't do it, the current Prime Minister won't do it, will somebody over there axe the tax and fix the budget?
So what's interesting about Carbon Tax Carney is he was questioned in committee and he basically said we need a price on pollution. But what's interesting, this article here from the National Post that just came out yesterday basically says Carbon Tax Carney here says that the carbon tax served a purpose until now and calls for a credible alternative. So this guy is 100% positioning himself to run as the new Liberal leader. He's starting his slow tour, getting his name out there a bit, combined with being the governor of the Bank of Canada for 7 years. On the surface value, if you look at him versus Trudeau, it's like Trudeau's just a bumbling idiot. He's a guy with no life experience, just a rich, spoiled kid, and this guy has actually done some stuff. This guy was the governor of Bank of Canada. It's just a lot more credible. Carney knows this. He doesn't want to burn his bridge with Trudeau. He wants his endorsement, even though that probably means nothing, but it does probably with the minimal Liberal supporters left. So he's starting to position himself. And that's why we see this served a purpose until now. He's just a little bit of a deviation there. You get the little bit of deviation. It's like, oh, well, we need the carbon tax, but we need to just change it a little bit because I'm Mr. Expert. I'll know how to do it. This is not going to work. Nobody wants the carbon tax. Anyone who just breathes a whiff of the carbon tax is not going to be a prime minister of this country ever again.
I'm a woman, I'm a mother. And let me tell you what the most fundamental right of every woman and girl in Canada is. The right to control your own body. It is time for the Conservatives to stand up and clearly say, are they going to defend a woman's right to choose? Because what we're hearing from them is they want to end it.
I think I need to clear the record here. Freeland, you're actually a monster. Once again, they're just doubling down on the attacks because that's all they have left. And that's all they're going to be doing here, at least for the foreseeable short-term future. Maybe they'll try another strategy. That's their strategy right now. Just wait. We'll see another attack come up. They're just going to start making up more garbage, and then they'll start bringing them all back up. Diagon Law, the white supremacists, the Charter of Rights, the women's right to choose, blah, blah, blah. And they're going to list them off trying to scare Canadians. That's all they're doing now. And it's not working because we know they're liars and losers. Finally, got one more back and forth here, which is absolutely savage and hilarious. Jazzaraj here absolutely rips Sean Fraser, which is I'm always for. I'm all for it.
Canada has turned into a nation of renters. After spending $89 billion on a photo op slush fund for housing, rents and mortgages doubled. The dream of home ownership for an entire generation is dead. Canadians are stretched because of higher taxes and higher rent, like the carbon tax scam that increased, making it harder for Canadians to pay for rent and food. Was it fair to increase the carbon tax scam 23% when 70% of Canadians told them not to?
The Honourable Minister for Housing,
How do you argue that?
and Communities.
Mr. Speaker, if my honourable colleague is concerned about tax increases, I suggest he talk to the leader of his own party who's proposing to increase taxes on new apartment construction by putting the GST back on apartment rentals in this country. Mr. Speaker, their plan is to raise taxes on home construction. Their plan is to cut funding for the communities they're going to build homes. He has actively promised in the media that he views the role of the government not to participate in housing. On our side of the House, we're going to make the investments necessary to solve the housing crisis. I hope the Conservatives will join us.
Yeah, right, dude.
The Honourable Member from Calgary Forest Lawn.
We won't take any lessons from the worst immigration and housing minister in Canadian history. Mark Carbon Tax Carney, preaching the same radical agenda in his Liberal leadership like this Prime Minister. He won't denounce the Liberal carbon tax and commit to cutting 1 penny of Liberal waste. Whether it's Carney or this Prime Minister, the inflation-driving deficits will continue. And just like the carbon tax scam, none of them are worth the cost. Will any other Liberal leadership candidate stand up today, show some common sense, and declare they'll finally axe the tax?
Well said, man.
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Speaker, it's understandable why Conservatives want to throw up some smoke screens. It's been a very bad couple of weeks to be a Conservative. First of all, they cavort with white extremists. Then their leader
too.
On a whim. And now, Mr. Speaker, we have a female candidate for a Conservative nomination alleging criminal content in the conduct of her nomination, identity fraud, false information. When will they stand up for law and order, Mr. Speaker?
What a load of garbage. These guys are just full of corruption and scandals every single day. And there's another one that I'm working on here. It's just crazy. Another one. It's not even the $8 billion slush fund I reported on this morning. There's another one. But stay tuned for that until I get some more details here. So jumping over to my group here now. We've got, this is not a meme. This is Trudeau's net worth. Who knows how accurate this is? I've seen now that it's like 134 million. I'm sure there's a lot of money waiting for him outside of Canada once he's done here with being the worst prime minister ever. I guess this is creepy. There you have it. The only team worse than the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's gotta sting for the Maple Leafs fans. Grocery prices after 9 years of Justin Trudeau. Well, beef 30%. What do we got the highest? Lettuce. Like, I don't understand some of these things. I see these numbers all the time. For me, where I live, it's like 200, 300%. Like I saw the other day, there was $17 watermelons. Like, when has a watermelon ever been 17 bucks? Like $8 usually what a watermelon is. It's like more than double. Lettuce, I've seen be like 300%. You could buy them for like $2 and now they're like $9. Simpsons one. What position is this? The Canadian taxpayer. If Justin and Jagmeet built a swing set, oh, this is a little. If these guys actually built a playground, you would probably end up with something stupid like this. Did you hear? Thanks to the Liberal NDP deals, I now qualify for free contraceptives, and you qualify for free teeth cleaning. This is, yeah, I mean, 87 years old for the dental plan. Like, it's just embarrassing. Everything they do is so embarrassing. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about their plan here. I think they've gone full bore onto the negative press. That's all they're going to be doing now. They tried to do the, hey, we're fighting for generations, fighting for the young people. We have to make it fair for everyone, whatever their catch line is. And it's not working. So now they're just doubling down on hate, made up lies and garbage. And now they're trying to tie them together. They'll continue to see their numbers go down because no one's falling for it because they're liars. So thanks for watching the end of the video here. Be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, turn on the bell thing, turn that on, get notified of all my videos. If you want to check out some merch, that's linked up down below. We'll keep fighting for freedom. I'll keep bringing you guys the truth. I'll see you guys on the next one.